have to believe me, you're making a huge mistake!
You've probably noticed the Smith family makes a lot of horrible mistakes in almost every scene they're in. But have you also noticed these mistakes the folks behind American Dad left in?
We should have listened to you.
Oh, I'll accept your apology.
Number 1. Make sure you've got all the vitamins you need before this American Dad mistake. In Vision Impossible, Steve receives a Roflux and 5 containers of a protein powder.
Thanks to all this, I'm about to become a jock.
Good luck, pal. However, in the first scene, he takes one of the containers, leaving only 4 still on the floor. In a subsequent scene, Steve is still holding the container, but now 5 containers can be seen behind him, giving him 6 containers altogether.
You're never gonna use any of that stuff.
Of course I'm gonna use it.
Number 2. Are you excited for the wet t-shirt portion of this list? At one point in the episode Spring Breakup, Roger throws a bucket of water in disguise as Scotch Bingington on Francine, claiming wet t-shirt contest. Francine looks disgusted when Roger states, give this one a 4 to the guy judging the contest. Then says to Francine, don't feel bad, you've had 3 kids. Francine replies,
I've had 2.
This is actually wrong though, because Francine has actually birthed 4 kids. She previously gave birth to Bailey, Haley's twin, and Greg and Terry's baby in Season 3, Episode 7, Surrogate.
It's a girl!
Number 3. While it's a pretty funny bit, there's no way Stan Smith, violent as he is, has never ended someone's life. In the episode The 42-Year-Old Virgin, Stan is revealed to have never taken someone's life.
Big Macho Stan is a killing virgin!
Even though he did with Jay Leno in Stan of Arabia Part 1, and Jackson's double in It's Good to Be Queen. He also accidentally disintegrates one of his co-workers in I Can't Stand You, and shot a hang glider in An Apocalypse to Remember. So yeah, we didn't believe it either.
There's a part of me that doesn't want me to kill anymore.
Number 4. I hop into this next American Dad mistake. In the sleepwalking episode, Stan gets in some deep water at his place of work because of his mental state. During one of the company's meetings, after Bullock says that Stan is fired and it cuts back and forth between them, the phrase IHOP appears on the board behind them, circled and in red. This writing is also super large, so it's a very strange, obvious mistake indeed. Maybe the animators were also sleepwalking. Number 5. Star Trek on over to our next American Dad mistake. In the episode All About Steve, Steve and his friends are sitting at a table with a Star Trek poster on the wall while discussing some nerd stuff and their plans to go to Comic-Con. Stan walks in to invite Steve to a ball game, as is Dad tradition, and the Star Trek poster is now gone from the wall. However, in a later shot, it is back up there. Did Stan rip it down just to make his son more sporty? He would do that, but that's likely not the case here.
Hey kids, have fun at the game.
Number 6. We never watched American Dad for their understanding of physics, but we see something, we say something. In the episode Why Can't We Be Friends, when Steve, Snot, and Stan are on the Gravitron, you can tell they're spinning clockwise or to their left. That means everything should be pushed in the opposite direction. But one girl's hair is flowing to her left when it should be flowing to her right. Picky, we know, but this is what keeps us up at night. Number 7. The logical inconsistencies of Roger could fill an encyclopedia, but let's start with his fashion choices. Early episodes of American Dad had Roger gradually learn how to use disguises to go out into the world. That was the canon. But in later seasons, we see that he had actually been using disguises for decades before he met the Smiths. Now we can hum and haw about why that is, but we all know the truth, and that's that the makers just forgot.
Who are you? Mrs. Weinsteinopolis.
Number 8. Men should cry often and freely, let it be said. The episode Cry Baby focuses on Stan's inability to cry.
But Roger, I've never seen my dad cry. I don't think he can.
Even though even a casual viewer will know he's cried many times throughout the show. Steve even previously taught Stan to cry in Every Which Way But Lose, and does so again in this episode. How long until they do another episode on this, do you think? Number 9. We're not judging, we're just stating the facts of Steve's V-card. In Brave New World, Stan calls Steve a virgin, and while that's just kind of a funny insult regardless of the details of your intimate life, Steve was heavily implied to have lost his virginity to Shannon, and with Stan's help no less, in the episode My Purity Ball and Chain. Number 10. Not that we care deeply for how these odd boys met each other, but a mistake is a mistake. In Mom Sauce, Steve and Snot are shown to have met in elementary school, but in the episode The Lost Boys, the group sings about and claims, along with Barry and Toshi, that they all met at Chuck E. Cheese's.
4 kids entered a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit as strangers. They emerged best friends.
Now, we could say that Snot and Steve had already known each other when they met Barry and Toshi, and that's when all 4 of them met all together, so then it's not untrue. But yeah, we don't think the writers worried about that as much as we just did. Number 11. The talk is stressful for all parents, except for Stan. Sometimes. In the episode My Purity Ball and Chain, Stan worries about giving Steve the birds and the bees talk in this episode.
You're saying I should never, ever have sex before marriage?
Even though Stan did it before and on live local TV, no less. In the episode A Smith in the Hand.
Say goodbye to smut and say hello to clean TV.
Boy, these two really have a bad relationship. They don't remember anything they do together. Number 12. We think Jay Leno is a pretty hard celebrity to forget, but apparently not for the writers of American Dad. In Casino Normal, Jay Leno appears and passes away in this episode, despite already appearing and passing away in Stan of Arabia Part 1. These creators either love Jay Leno or dislike Jay Leno a lot. Number 13. If you didn't love your childhood, and you don't know how old you are, then you might be Haley Smith. In the flashbacks of Haley and Stan bonding over their President's Day trips, Haley is shown as a teenager happily singing along to Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. Even though in the episode Haley Smith SEAL Team 6, it's established that Haley hasn't been happy since she was 7. On top of that, the episode portrayed her as younger during the time of the song's release, when she would have been the same age she's always been when it originally came out, which would have been around the mid-2009s. Number 14. Again with the logic of Roger. Remember, we warned you. In the episode Roger Passes the Bar, Roger clenches his chest while he's having a heart attack. Even though in the episode 4 Little Words, he says his heart is actually where his butt is. To be fair though, he has a flair for the dramatic and a penchant for making things up for a joke. Number 15. The topic of which characters have and have not done it seems to come up a lot in this show, but that's adult animation for you. In virtual In-Stanity, Stan says he spent the night with Francine on his first 2 dates with her. Yet, in the episode When a Stan Loves a Woman, he says he wasn't intimate with Francine until they were married. Now, Stan is a very conservative man, and so he likely had to say the marriage stuff in order to keep up appearances, but it's there. Those were all our favorite mistakes in American Dad we noticed. Any you noticed that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more animated content. And thanks for watching The Things Animated.
It's just a really good replica of an emergency exit!